Welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for coming to the last uh, public meeting.
Yeah, for sure.
It's good to hear your input.
Yeah. Yeah, glad I showed up. Because I was hoping more people would have
Yeah.
showed up there too. I think there was just people didn't know about it also, maybe
Yeah.
or something.
I mean, we needed to do the old fashioned posters a little bit more, but I know we did have
Yeah, there's some notices that,
you know,
I think,
notices on and we had the surveys that had been posted, and at least I invited 3 different parties and none of them were able to come, so. But I think it probably was a number of reasons, so.
yeah.
Hey, Sam.
Hey,
Hey,
So your week of meetings this week?
yeah, it is actually. It's my last one.
lots of meetings.
Yeah, every 2 weeks. It's like they all land on the same week. So like sometimes I have 4 meetings in 1 week and then I have just absolutely nothing the next week.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, this was one of those weeks.
I heard you just say that last night at the museum.
Yeah, I went out and had dinner with Britt and the Wilderness Preserve folks
Nice.
before his talk. So she was saying, must be your
Okay.
night out
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah. It's how it goes this time of year. Especially.
Is this the one John Nilsson said he won't be able to attend?
I think I read that in the email.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I talked, Mark Pass contacted me this morning and he's not able to attend either.
Okay. You know anything about Jackie?
No, haven't heard anything from her for a couple of meetings now.
Yeah. You had to work outside? Are you doing inside projects?
I haven't worked the last 2 days because of the smoke.
Yeah.
And I could like maybe tolerate it for a little bit, but I'm like, I'm just not gonna.
It doesn't take,
It's like whatever. Like, I mean, I'm out there for a little bit doing some things like at home and it's like,
Yeah, same.
I just had like an instant headache just the
Yeah.
whole time. I'm like, I can't work all day in this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the same thing. I try to get the kids out as early as I can and then we spend the rest of the day in and it's like
Yeah.
by the time I come in, I totally have a headache.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and
Do
Jake,
you have an air purifier or anything? in
we
place?
do, we have 2. So I've been running them.
Nice.
We've been looking into getting an air conditioning unit because we can't cool our house down.
Oh,
We
yeah.
can't open it up and cool it down, so it's stuck at 80. and,
Yeah.
like the air is just like it's
Yeah.
killing me.
Yeah.
do you have air purifiers or anything?
That's what we're using.
Yeah.
And
then those are making heat. It's probably
Yeah.
even a little bit warm.
yeah, and our house is, I mean, it's concrete, it's insulated well, but it's black siding.
Yeah.
And it heats it up just to that point that we can't get it back down. And then all the concrete around our house holds the heat.
Yeah.
And that was
Sure,
something
it's-
I thought about. It does it in the winter, so of course.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's mostly winter up here, so.
yeah, I know. And that, so it's like, so we've justified it every year.
Right.
Jake
And the
asked,
black siding's probably nice in the winter.
so, yeah, but our next house, we're not gonna do dark,
Yeah.
vertical light,
Yeah.
just,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Switch it up.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think about people painting houses black in California and I'm like, oh my God, why would you? Cause it's trendy, right?
It looks
Trendy,
good.
look right now,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
textually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, depending on where you are in Northern California, it's not.
no, right, I'm thinking southern,
Yeah.
I'm thinking southern.
Okay, not much. Oh, there's Michael. Hey, Michael.
Greetings, everyone. How's the
Thank
smoke?
you.
Awful.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Does it hit you down south?
We had some this morning. It's not too bad right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't, I just stopped and took a picture on the way over here of the view towards Bayfield. You could see the sun, you could see some glints on the water, but you can't see the ferry boat, you
Ooh.
know?
And I imagine that means they can't see either.
Okay, anyway, I'm going to call the meeting to order of the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. If we could just go around and say your name. I'm Lois Carlson.
Sam Dobson.
Alex Burner.
Jim Peters.
Michael Kupta.
Keisha Beloach.
Great. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. This is just, or I guess the first thing we need to do is, we do not, well, we have, your name again is
Alex.
Alex, who is part of the committee now, I think, right? So that's all,
Yeah.
we're all through on that, but other, than, and we welcome you to the committee. Thank you.
Thanks.
But we have no public available, so we will go on to point number 3, approval of the minutes from June 11th.
I'll make a motion. We approve the meeting minutes from June 11th.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries. Minutes are adopted. Okay, then we'll move on and just discuss the public forum that was held on June 22nd, which was really really informative, about an hour and a half. We had Kelly Westland, who went through a number of opportunities and experiences that they've had with, you know, in especially the new development in Washburn. And I outlined what was discussed, and those that you all should have received copies of that. And then I think if anybody has input on what was discussed and what our next steps are. Any,
Well, there was a lot of information to
Yep.
digest.
Yep.
And of all these different organizations that might be able to help us out, I didn't really see any that were really at the top of the list. That this is something we should do
Yeah.
right now. I
I
mean,
would agree.
I'm just not sure where we're gonna go next.
yeah, I spoke with Mark Pass this morning and he felt the same way about it as well. And we felt it was a positive informational meeting and that we should still move forward and follow up with another meeting in the fall, but we still really don't have a strong idea of who the people are that are looking for assistance and housing and how,
Mhm.
you know, and obviously the same challenges that we
Just
speak
to,
of.
just to get better data about how many people we need to.
Well, we had, and if you get a chance to go online, there's a copy of a report that was a really lengthy report that was done in 2022, I think. And
Is that when the town hired that company to come here and do?
yeah,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Real lengthy survey.
it's very extensive. And, but even since that time, the people that were specifically interested in housing then have kind of found situations or decided to move away or whatever. So it's, you know, if we build it, they will come kind of ideas, maybe not the right, right thing, but on the other hand, we have no housing.
Yeah, I
You
think
know?
I think there's probably some of that though, like if some people wouldn't even attempt to come here because it's just so hard to find housing. But if there was something, then
Yeah, I think one of the takeaways that I sat and thought about long and hard was communication and how we communicate better to the public. What we're doing, just listening to their campaign and how they pushed it into their community. That was overwhelming to me to think about trying to accomplish. But I understand that she's saying, you know, this is sometimes the only way to get that information to people is to just be consistent and put it in literally every source you can find.
you're talking about what they were doing in Washburn.
Yeah,
right?
and fortunately, yeah, the campaign to bring people in to teach them about what was happening with the public house or not the public housing, the housing project. And I mean,
Yeah.
we only have so many people here, so our numbers aren't overwhelming. You know, if you were to compare it to Washburn, like I think it's something we can totally do. But it's something that we'd have to be strategic and organized, and it would take time and a little bit of a budget to organize some like nice materials for people to have.
Okay.
So it's like this whole like pivot of something else that we would be having to do, but I think that's the key piece in how we connect to the community, and we could have done better. I mean, we put a letter in the Gazette and we kind of flubbed it on the putting it everywhere else. So we can do better. So I think us trying that for this fall, hopefully we see the effort you put in.
Mhm.
And if not, then I don't know. But I think if we give it our best communication wise and really try to bring people in and connect with those people, you know, maybe our turnout will be better and we'll get those people that we're trying to get into the room. But I also like, if that doesn't happen, then we're at that wall again.
I don't know if you read somewhere in this, there was I found what Cornucopia had done.
Mm-hmm.
They got a grant
Mm-hmm.
to help.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's something we can look at,
Mhm.
but that's gonna take time. We have a grant writer now.
Yep.
The town does.
Yep.
That could maybe look into that for us, but that's gonna be down the road. I think you're right. On this next meeting, we have to come up with some better ideas and publication to get more people
Yeah.
here.
It's a media campaign in a way.
Yes.
So we have to think about it that way and think about, ABC, these are the places we want to go and promote, and this is what it looks like. And so that next tier of effort that we didn't do.
But we need to do something if we're gonna have another meeting in
Yeah.
August or
Yes. Yeah.
September.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of that we can actually do ourselves is get another article in the Gazette,
Mhm.
which is coming up probably sooner than you realize.
Yeah.
And then get some postings around town and maybe come up with some kind of a flyer that we can put up and put them in more places than just
Yep.
the regular postings that the town does, the 3 spots.
Yep.
We can do them at local businesses.
Yep.
I think they would be more than happy to do that. So I think between getting some posters up and probably putting something on social media and get something in the Gazette is about all we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And that survey is still in existence. It doesn't have an end date, so we
Okay.
can bring that back when that next meeting comes.
And how do people access that? I mean, so if we do a poster that we can put up about this next meeting, so can we put a QR code on that will people use that?
I have it. I have one now. I made one and sent it to John. So
Okay,
it does work. We practiced it. I used one the first time that had like a subscription deadline, and that's why I screwed up.
Well, and I mean, you did a fabulous job with putting that together. It was certainly far more than I knew you know, how to handle.
Mhm.
So that was,
But yeah,
You know.
answer your question totally. We can, it's the QR code for a poster. And if it's pushed online, then it's a link. And you can always include the link
Okay.
underneath the scan. So,
I don't think it would be a bad idea to just print out a few
Mhm.
and, you know, take a manila folder, staple it, surveys, and then they could just stick them in there. They're anonymous surveys anyway, so they could just fill it out at the post office.
Yeah.
There,
Not a bad idea too. Maybe in some locations you could have that.
yeah. But well, for sure, the post office would accommodate it. I don't know that there's other places where there'd be room necessarily, but in that, at least most people hit up the post office once a day, so.
I think the town uses the post office, the library, and
The library too.
board out here. And I'm sure there'd be room for us to put one on there.
Okay.
But when we come up with this notice and stuff, you know, what are we gonna put on there? I mean,
mhm.
it's gotta be enticing for people to show up. It's gotta, they have to have a reason to be there. So we need to work on that.
I'd like to, does anybody have contacts in Corny that may have worked on any of this stuff?
You know, I don't know.
So
mean, I-
Lois,
Yeah,
I don't know. So the state has this emerging developer program and Bayfield is one of the counties that is participating. And the woman who's going up there, I don't know if she started yet. Her name is Tashiana Mixon. She's had some contact with Cornucopia in her
Okay.
past. And so I don't know exactly what that involvement was, but she was familiar or is familiar with it to at least some degree. And, you know, the larger picture is, I know she's assigned to Bayfield County. I don't know how much restriction her work will be to that county in particular, but it might be worth working with Kelly to see if there's anything that Tashiana can do for Madeline Island. At least sharing her experience in smaller communities.
okay.
Mhm.
When Kelly was giving the presentation, she covered a fair amount about the cornucopia experience, and it just sounded, you know, it sounded like it was closer to what we might be envisioning here rather than what they have in Washburn,
Right.
which, you know, is a pretty significantly sized development. So I just thought it would be good to find out how someone is making it work here.
Yeah, I think they were only looking at like 16 to 18 units. And I don't think they've even got requests for proposals out yet from
Okay.
from what I could see online, what I researched, but yeah, if we can get a hold of somebody in Bayfield that could link us with some people at Cornucopia, that would be helpful. And
Yeah.
I know when they had their meetings, they had a grant which helped. They had meals, so they provided a meal to get, and maybe that's something we
Mhm.
should look at.
Mhm.
You know, that we don't have a lot of time to pull all this
No,
together.
we don't.
Well, and it was much bigger of an effort than I had anticipated hearing that they did to
Yeah,
get
of course.
people in. Yeah, like the meals and the media that they were pushing out. Like, I just, I don't know if we have the capacity for that. It's like what you just said. So this is tough.
Well, and a grant helped too, because that pulls in a lot of
Yeah.
people to organize things.
Mhm. Keep you on track. Yep.
Everything else. So,
Yep.
yeah, I don't see us doing that this time around,
Mhm.
but we've got to come up with
Something.
some PR to get people to want to come to this meeting. And I think an article in the Gazette will help.
Mhm.
But I think we stress to people that the reason we're doing this to try and get workforce housing is to try and get workers here, workers that can live here, that provide the services for all the people that come, especially in the summertime.
Mhm.
I mean, the people that come here for the summer, they want to be able to go out and eat. They want somebody to come and mow their lawn. They want all the services, but that takes workers. And if you don't have housing for workers, they're not going to be here. And these businesses aren't going to be able to hire people to work, to serve you. So you need to support this so
Yeah.
you can enjoy life as you're used to.
Yeah.
So Jim, you're onto something, and several years ago, and I don't even remember how long ago this was. One of the things we did early in, at least my time on the committee, was we went out and interviewed a couple of dozen of the major employers on the island. And they were, across the board, extremely willing to participate. Some of them were willing to share information with their workers. You can probably find the information in the archive somewhere, but we were able to get a really good sense of how many of their workers actually lived on the island, how many worked year round, what, as best the employer knew what their housing situation was. Obviously, some employers try to provide housing for their workers. Some are not able to do that. But that was a really good way of not only getting current information, but then that got us connections with some workers who really wanted to talk to other workers and generate that kind of interest and participation. So that could be kind of a roundabout way beyond just doing posters, Gazette articles, social media outreach, to find just a few people, even for a short period of time, who are willing to drag one or two people into a meeting with them.
So you're saying to contact employers again and go
Yes.
that route?
I mean, it's been at least 4 or 5 years probably, so it wouldn't hurt to get up-to-date information on the status of their employers. But in the process, you might be able to get immediate contacts with specific people who would be happy to, push at least for a short period of time to get people in the same room to talk about what would really work for them.
And I think when he said the archives, when we did this before with the employers, we made a list, and we probably still have it, of the employers that we contacted, and we could go back and contact those employers again.
Oh.
So they're aware of the meeting, and if we can gather some more information about their employees and housing, I think that would be helpful for us too.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we should try and do. Isn't, I keep thinking about this meeting that, or that forum, whatever, that we're gonna have in August or September. If we wait till after Labor Day, are we gonna lose a lot of employees or not so much?
It's
You
probably-
lose the
probably less.
students, you lose the
Yeah.
students because they go back to college. Or the Bulgarian students go back for school. So, I think you're losing a part of the workforce that isn't necessarily looking for housing. So I think you're still okay, because we still have all the staff that stays until Fall Fest. And I think those are the folks you would likely, they're out of school, they're kind of beyond that phase of life. So you're more likely to capture them. So I don't think it's a problem, time-wise.
Do we want to try to set a date at this point?
Thought we had,
Or did we
Um,
already?
well, actually, no. I'm gonna pull up the Gazette article and see if I mentioned a date. I don't think I did. I think I just said September.
I know there's a couple of weddings in September that always draws a lot of islanders to those occasions. We don't want to conflict with that.
No, we don't.
This is Keisha. Going back to the topic of getting folks interested in participating, might we consider not a full rebranding, but calling it Homes for Neighbors or something different? We could work with someone like Kira Bingham for a poster that would look like, I have examples on my computer here, but I love the food idea.
The
And
what?
I'm concerned about folks not having, I mean, it's, 5 years in the making and then some of really getting folks in the door. And I think that the efforts ought to be put into gathering community together. And I like the idea before Labor Day, understanding we need the people power to do so.
No, Keisha, I think that's a great idea. I mean, the name of this committee is a very, quote unquote bureaucratic name.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Whereas
And
what
it
you're
gets no shame
suggesting,
to that.
yeah,
Yeah.
what you're suggesting Homes for Neighbors, I mean, that has a much more personal and
Mhm.
emotional impact.
Yeah. And I think if I mean, sometimes I think when we continue to, from my perspective, we're gathering more of the needs and interest. Um, the little thought in the back of my head is I keep going back to funding. Like, we're going to get intake, but then how are we going to supply? And so is there, I just went through the sorry, the smoke is definitely affecting how I feel today as well. Um, but the drive, and I looked through all of the documents, kind of scanning it. I keep just coming back to fundraising, fundraising, fundraising.
Mhm.
And in my notes from I think 3 meetings ago, it was kind of like, I was kind of doodling to myself, and it's like, how do we fund the first phase? Because after the first phase is funded, people, other organizations, loans, etc., kind of start to pick that up. So I would be willing to keep having that conversation. The work has to be done before our monthly meeting. Um, and Lois, if I could sit down with you for 45 minutes and meet you at your time frame, maybe that would be helpful as the chair.
Sure, that would be fine. And,
Okay.
yeah, that would be fine.
And that's not to exclude anyone. I just,
No, and the funding is the issue. I mean, it is the thing we keep landing on at the very end of the conversation. And I think we're talking a lot about the folks who are going to utilize the housing that we want in the room, but we can talk a lot more about the people who could potentially be funders for a project like this. And um, us like seriously sitting down and brainstorming names of individuals or organizations that we really want present in this. Because the few folks that were there, we spoke after, and they're individuals that have been here for forever and they're invested, and this is something that they would likely, contribute towards. So it's just spreading that a little bit more.
yeah. And then their networks as well, right? Have
Right.
you done anything looking at like ski towns like out in Colorado that have had a element of this in terms of workforce? This might be a naive question, but we've looked at hyper localizing like Washburn and Corny, and that's fantastic. Have we looked at the way that like a ski resort town has been able to provide housing?
I don't know about that, but I did get some information about Beaver Island. So
Okay.
another
Yep,
island
I remember
community
that.
that had similar, challenges as we do here. And uh, and they did but they had two things. First of all, they had a gentleman who lived on Beaver Island that owned property, and
Mhm.
he was a builder, and he financed the
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
So that got it off the ground.
Yeah.
But they did a beautiful job of kind of doing some prefab or modular housing.
Yeah, there's pictures in the Google Docs
Yeah.
that show them.
Yep.
Yep.
And they brought them across on the ferry, and that's, I think a comparable situation that we would have here for that kind of a structure. And their apartments, they're, I think, 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, perhaps.
Mhm.
So I think in terms of models that I've seen that seem to make a lot of sense, but the other thing is just, that we've got the property earmarked between the EMS building and the dump, and that would take a fair amount of clearing and preparation to get that ready for anything. And I would imagine some community pushback on felling trees that people like driving past. I mean, I'm not saying that to,
It's
you know, but it's true. Yeah.
It's the same
just
with the
thinking of all
verbiage
of
of
the-
affordable housing. People
Yeah.
hear it and they have an association or an opinion immediately just based off of the phrase. And the trees are gonna be the same thing.
Yeah.
They're gonna have opinions about it, you know.
Yeah.
Before, so it is important how we approach it and how
Right.
we talk about it because there's thought behind what we're doing. We're
Yeah.
not, you know, just going in and clear cutting trees. So
Yeah.
again, articulating that to the right people.
Correct.
Well, and again, you know, the plans that we've kicked around are on the back of that property. You know, we're leaving as many trees along the road as
Yeah.
possible so that it both provides privacy for the residents and doesn't destroy the views of people driving by. You know, I want to just jump in here a bit. I mean, I've been at this a long time, and I admit I'm a little bit jaded. I think, you know, I think we've come to a point where, you know, we've watched other communities. We've tried to use some of the typical strategies that have worked in other communities. We've tried to get developers to come up or piggyback off of other projects, and none of that has worked. You know, every community's had a different advantage that we don't have or haven't tapped into at this point. And my opinion, for what it's worth at this point, is we've got the land, we've got some committed people, we've got some preliminary, you know, design work or whatever you want to call it. We've got some preliminary idea of what kind of housing could, in theory, work financially and logistically. We know that there is some state money available for infrastructure development, which that site needs. It's going to require the town to commit, you know, some level of money and effort to achieve that, and get that work done. It's going to require some cooperation with the sanitary district to get that started. But I think we know how to get it started.
Mhm.
And I think everything we've looked at shows that, yes, if we do build it, they will come. The demand is out there. The people in themselves may change, but the underlying dynamics do not change. The need
Right.
does not change. And so I think, again, I've said this before, and not trying to say that this is the way to do it, but my opinion is we're not going to get outside help. We're going to have to do it, or we're going to get minimal outside help, and we're going to have to do it ourselves, which
Yeah.
means we're going to have to be our own developer, and we're going to have to find our own financing. And so I know you know, you've all talked in the last several months about trying to find, you know, what I'll call those angel investors, the people who are committed to this island, sometimes for generations, or the people who have money and are, you know, kind of unassuming about it. We need to know how we reach those people and how we show what they can contribute to the future of this island and to the quality of the life of the people who make everything here possible. And so I think that's where the effort has to be. Get the town to commit to seeking the state funding that's available for infrastructure development. You know, we've got a lot to work on exactly how the logistics work of building and owning, renting, whatever that is, but that's none of that's going to happen until we get some upfront money. And it's, you know, it's possible that this would be donations. It's possible that it's going to be seed money that, you know, can be reimbursed or invested for people with a long-term horizon. But my sense is at this point, those are the only viable options for this community, and those are where the efforts should come from. We don't, you know, there's nothing in the region, there's no large foundation in the region that has the resources we need. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist somewhere else, doesn't mean there's not someone on the island who has connections to large sums of money. But, you know, when Mackinac Island built their stuff back in the early days of this committee, you know, there was a huge foundation on that island that provided $2 or $3 million in seed money, and that's how they got their project started. And that, you know, that ignited everything else that they've been able to accomplish. And they don't face problems that are any deeper or any less than what Madeline faces. So that would be my emphasis. Get the town to commit, work really hard on networking, is to use the word Keisha used, and try to find who those angel investors or the people who really love this island and are looking for a way to make a long-lasting contribution. And then, work through the logistics as we've been doing for years.
Yeah.
And we'll find something that will work.
So in the next Gazette article, the first one was more of an overview, but this one can be much more specific to basically what you just said in a nice readable way. It kind of explaining that, I'm not going to repeat it, but we've used all the resources and this is where we've landed and this is our call. So I can do that part.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Sam, would you be willing to draft that and then we could provide any feedback or additional notes to be considered before it's submitted?
Totally. That's what we did last time.
Yep.
It took a little bit, so I'll figure out what the deadline is and we may need to just okay it through email if everyone's okay with that.
Absolutely.
I think we should finalize the date though at this
Sure.
point, so we can go forward with those
Yeah, I can put it in there then.
document creations.
I didn't put a date in there, so I just said September.
Okay. And Labor Day is it's late, seems later this year,
7th,
right?
Yeah, it's the 7th.
So I would think maybe if we're sticking with Mondays or Tuesdays, the 14th or the 15th. Or we could go to the 21st because we had the other one on the 22nd. I mean, at least it would, not that we had attendance, but at least we would be sticking with our pattern timing.
What day of the week are you looking at?
I was looking at Monday or Tuesday.
I think earlier in the month is better.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. The 14th maybe is except the 7th is Labor Day.
Yeah.
That's a Tuesday.
It's a Monday.
Do you know, is there any way for you to see in the great future
Is there
if there's anything scheduled on that date? I'll send you the Google folder. So you know what we're talking about and all the documents that
Yeah.
I'm mentioning.
Cool.
Yeah.
September 14th.
Something I just wrote in the notes here, asking if there's a document where we have costs noted for the proposed builds being considered.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Sure,
schedule?
That's
where it's
awesome.
documented the proposed builds that are being considered. The cost per. And then what materials are,
I'm
I
having
see
a
the
hard
floor
time
plans.
understanding her also.
Yeah,
It's
the audio is
mostly
bad
my hearing.
on this end.
okay,
And
I think there,
Check the notes.
well, I think one of the companies provided a spec list. There wasn't cost associated with it. That's something they're not gonna share. Cause it fluctuates so greatly. But they gave, in all of those mock-ups, they had the like rough estimate for what it would cost though, right?
they would have to have a rough estimate.
I think so.
Cause that was when I first came in was when those were just coming in to play, like you had just handed them out.
So I
Those
can get
before
that
my
kind
time.
of information. I mean, I know
Yeah.
we've gone back and forth with a couple of different modular home manufacturers and a couple of different concepts. But again, there's a local company that's building homes here in Lancaster. And I can get the information from the quote unquote dealer who's ordering and placing these homes. And there's two actually sitting on site waiting for the foundation to be dug here in Lancaster. So I can find out what the cost is for each of those models and try to get you up to date diagrams as to how many square feet, bedrooms layout, that kind of stuff. And again, I know that we haven't agreed as a committee, like where we're going and who we're using, but that'll at least give us a ballpark
Mhm.
of what a certain amount of money will get us.
Max had the calendar and we had put September 14th at, I think we did 5:30 for this last one, on the calendar. So if that date works for everyone,
Yep.
we can keep it since there's nothing there.
Yep.
We'll do 5:30.
Great.
Said the 14th.
Just want to see when the last vote is that time of year.
What's the location?
Murph. Or sorry, not Murph, the EMS building. Wouldn't that be funny? Yeah, no, the EMS building. Oh, I said that. Monday, the last vote is 6:30. So if we want to have anyone from off island,
Well, then we'd have to let them wrap by 6:15.
I find that
So do we want to start at 5 then? Just to allow that extra half hour.
Who would we have from off island?
well, it's just how we had Kelly as a moderator. If that's an option we'd want to choose, if we want to introduce someone in again. We haven't really talked much about structure, so.
Yeah.
Just thinking ahead,
Yeah.
it would limit who can attend.
I would say let's start at 5 instead and then,
Yeah, that'll give
You
you
know,
more leeway to.
right, and encourage people to show up even if if they have to work until 5 and can't get there until,
Just come
yeah,
anyway.
just come anyway.
Okay.
Just,
Well, we're starting to slow down. I mean, some aren't. My husband's not, but, hopefully,
yeah,
it's not crazy summer.
yeah. Okay. So,
Oh, I had something I wanted to talk about. It didn't come up in conversation. And it was, they had talked so much about these programs that homeowners can opt into. And like, I had no idea all of these programs existed, like I know home improvements, like you can get rebates and whatnot for windows and blah, blah, blah. Is there a way for us to create like a resource folder for homeowners on the island where we can push them to these programs? Because that's in their hands and it allows them to do these things.
Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
They should be able to give us.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can easily just like provide a piece of paper with link, 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 link. But I'm just wondering if there's a better way or like a place on our website where, we have a list to these links that are clickable. I don't need an answer or anything right now, but just something I thought about as a way we can help people now. Let's get these resources into their hands. I mean, we can print off posters and put them up in because they all have their own information on flyers. So, I mean, it's just a matter of us like pulling them off and
Just get a
Printing them.
link to.
yeah. And I just wonder if that's something that we can do as a committee to just promote opportunity.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can look
That's
into
a good idea.
that and see what I can come up
Okay.
with. And
So there are like a lot of different links for things or like.
She
I was
talked about a
thinking-
lot of
Right,
things.
I was thinking like there could be like a questionnaire or something that helps people to point them to the right link. That's good for
Yeah.
them. I don't know. That's like a
Yeah,
lot of work to maybe figure that out.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
um,
But she mentioned so many things and I just want to make sure we're taking all of those things she mentioned for community members and giving them to the community members, because if we don't know about it, they're not going to know about it.
Right.
So,
I'd love
maybe
to
for
put
next
on the
meeting.
website versus something one would have to sit and type out from a piece of paper.
yeah. Well, there's just all kinds of people on the island too. So I'm trying to like, how does everyone get their information? So we've got all kinds.
Yeah.
So,
Understand.
but yeah. Ideally, my opinion would be it lives on the website, on the town website. And it's just a link and you can homeowner resources.
Right.
boom. Um,
And again, a lot of the target audience for that would be actually people who are renting their homes
Agreed.
to workers. You know, we've heard a lot about some of the substandard quality, and if
mhm,
people, you know, landlords, for lack of a better term, can get access to some of these low income, I shouldn't say low income, low cost
Yep.
resources to improve, you know, put on a new roof, get,
And that's absolutely true of the island right now. There are so many employee housing
Yeah,
that
A
would
lot of it.
absolutely use
yeah.
updates and upgrades. And if we can help,
Facilitate that.
yeah, facilitate that, I think we'd be doing a good thing.
Mhm.
So maybe for next meeting, talk more.
Yeah. Definitely, that needs to be on the action steps. Okay, so I think you're gonna kind of look at that article
Mhm.
and I can try to contact somebody in Corny and follow up on Michael's lead with the Gallon Bayfield County. And then what else?
Michael, you'll do the spec information.
yeah, I'll get that. I
Overview.
mean, I'll see this guy tomorrow, so
Cool.
I'll try to
That was it.
back him into a corner and get it from him.
Is there any other way to reach people on the island besides the Gazette? I mean, looking at it, possible future investors in this whole idea. I'm thinking of organizations like the Wilderness Preserve.
Mhm.
If we had somebody that could give a 2 or 3 minute spiel to their next meeting,
Well,
something along those lines anyway.
well, I know there's some meeting happening right now with the island nonprofits for discussion on a community center for the Bell Street. And as nonprofits, they're coming together and meeting. So figureheads will all be together. And that might be a good place for us to just pop in and say, hey, since we all have you in the room, can we piggyback for a minute? Because it's in the same vein of what they're working on. And it'd be an easy way to get everybody in the room at one time. And I'm on the email list, so I would be aware when the next one would come up. If that's
I'd
an
like to
idea.
go to that anyway.
Yes.
General.
And it's just, they just had one meeting, so I don't know what's become of it, but I do know, like, I saw the whole list of nonprofits that they were inviting, and they're everyone you would expect. So be like, well, you guys are working on this. I'm gonna think about this too.
Just so they're aware of it. I mean,
Yeah,
I think it really helps to have somebody make just a short presentation on what we're doing. And
Yeah,
hoping to do in the future, and we're gonna need some help.
yeah.
And there's probably other organizations besides the Wilderness Preserve, if we thought about it for a while, that would be good to share this information with.
Well, the Gazette often has articles or ads from organizations who list, you know, who their donors were in the previous year. Wouldn't be hard to go back through a year's
Mhm.
worth of editions and just go through and photocopy those. And then we've got a list of people who are, you know, philanthropically minded
Philanthropic.
to some level
Yep.
or another.
mm-hmm.
Okay. I think those are all good directions. So. Is there any new business? Okay, then our next meeting is
Sometime
August
it's-
13th, presumably.
August 13th.
Just for me.
Hey,
At 5.
5 o'clock.
Sorry, Lois, what was the date?
August 13th, a Thursday. Good, then, if there is nothing else, I will adjourn the meeting.
Thank you
Thank you,
all.
everybody.
Thanks, Michael.
Yep.
Don't breathe too deeply. Yeah.
Yeah.